this is Gina. Welcome back to Tight Ship Mama. When my husband and I were at a dinner dance a few years ago, there was a group of women and we were all introducing ourselves in a circle. And when it got to me and I said I was a stay-at-home mom, it was a little bit of crickets until, they asked the regular questions. How many kids do you have? What are their ages? But after the pleasantries, there wasn't a ton for me to contribute to the conversation. So eventually, the circle kind of closed with me being pushed outside of it a little bit. And when we got in the car to go home, I told my husband about how that kind of felt a little awkward. And he said, well, why don't you talk about what you do? And I said, what do you mean, what do I do? I'm home with the kids all day. And he goes, no, what you do. And I had just gotten home from taking my high school youth group to Spain for World Youth Day. I had a prayer group monthly in my home with a group of awesome women. I was on the symphony ball committee, and I was very involved with my kids' school. All of these things are what I'm doing to fill my gap years, or that gap in my resume. So you probably have a gap in your resume. Oh my gosh. I'm falling. Okay, mommy's doing this. So, you're funny. So these are our gap years. So let's be intentional about what we're doing to fill these gap years. First thing, treat everyone that you come across as a professional would. Every email, every text, whether it's to your kid's school teacher, to the soccer coach, be professional. Before you hit send, double check for grammar and accuracy and spelling and make sure the tone of it is professional. Next, get out of your comfort zone. When I was asked to be on the symphony ball committee, I had no clue how to run a ball or any part of running an auction. But you know what? I learned and I stretched and I grew. And now there are a ton of skills that I have picked up that would easily translate to the workforce. After a few years, I was actually co-chair with two friends of the entire ball, and we raise over $100,000 each year. So that's a huge chunk of the symphony's annual revenue that we were able to do. And if you can have fundraising on your resume from your gap years, you have just opened up a ton of doors professionally. Get dressed. I talked a little bit about this in my Declutter Your Wardrobe video, but it's true. Get up every day and get dressed. You are representing yourself and your future self. Everyone that you encounter is a potential employer, and they are not looking for someone that looks like they just rolled out of bed. Have your radar up. There are jobs all around you, and even if people aren't advertising actively for a job, there are opportunities all around. Even when my son was sick in the hospital with leukemia, my husband was offered a job from the CEO of the hospital simply because he was around a lot and he was always professional and courteous and made a good impression on this man. I was offered a job at a cocktail party one time simply because I was talking about organizing. I was also offered a job recently when I was out hiking with my daughter. I have a minor in outdoor education and I struck up a conversation with, I guess, the right person, and she offered me a job on the spot. And so I declined, of course, but it's still nice to be asked. Whatever activity you're doing, show up and be positive. When my husband was looking for his first hire for his new firm, one of the first people he thought of was a mom from our baseball team because she always showed up with such a great attitude, and he could very easily see her being the face of the new firm out there in the community and the first interaction that a client would possibly have with the company. This one's a don't. Don't gossip. No matter how tempting it is to pass on the latest, greatest, juicy gossip, try to avoid this. When you are out and about, you are always representing yourself, and future employers or coworkers could be hearing these stories and think, she's a great person, but can she be trusted with confidential information? Lastly, be careful what you post on social media. I was on a Facebook group of moms in our area, and someone started a thread about babysitters, and this one girl was named as being an awesome babysitter. And I thought, oh, great, and people were saying how awesome she was, and she's great with kids, and this and this. So what's the first thing I do? I click on her profile, right? Well, when I click on the profile, the first thing that pops up is her drinking alcohol at a party. I believe she had memes up there that had curse words in them, and there was some random guy that looked like he might be a boyfriend. And while she might be Mary Poppins when she arrives at your house, I wasn't going to take that risk. So I hope that these were some tips that you can use in your gap years. Be mindful of what you're doing with your time and use these years to enjoy raising your kids, but also to keep one foot in that workplace door if that's what you choose to do. Again, it's all about giving yourself the freedom to do what you want to do, either now or somewhere down the road. Enjoy your gap years and have a great day. I will see you next week.